Hey, listen, it's always my favorite time of the week when we get Stuart Varney from your Fox Business Network on the line, because, Stuart, he has a way of just sort of cutting through the BS.
Yes, he does.
He sort of just, in a very eloquent and English way, he sort of, gets right to the heart of the matter and explains stuff better. I call him Mr. Splainer Man. How are you, Stuart?
Well, I don't like Valentine's Day either. Okay, Brian?
Well, good. Then you and I, we'll harumph today. Harumph.
But look, if you start out saying, I don't like Valentine's Day, that is a lousy start to a segment now, isn't it? So I'll retract from that.
Right.
I don't like contrived holidays. Okay?
There you go.
But the greetings card companies tell me I've got to spend money on them. I don't like that, okay?
There you go. I knew we were kindred spirits in many ways.
You're welcome to call and join the debate at 8 o'clock.
That's right. Call back and tell us why. Okay, listen, there's so much to cover. The President's State of the Union address. First was this, there's some gobbledygook speak going on here. First, here's one where the President talks about we don't need bigger government.
It is not a bigger government we need, but a smarter government that sets priorities and invests in broad-based growth.
So, what do you think about that, Stuart?
I think it's pure nonsense, actually, Brian, and that's being rather pleasant about it. Look, the President proposed a massive increase in spending. All kinds of new programs put in place with money which we don't have. And he says it will not cost us a dime towards the deficit. I just don't get this. We've had 4 years of massive government spending, and we have not produced real growth in jobs or growth in the economy. There is no reason to assume that if we do this thing all over again, massive government spending, that we will create real growth and real jobs. This is a losing policy, and I don't want to see it be repeated, and I don't think it's going to be repeated because I don't think Congress will stand for it.
Now, the President also tend to use the word, I saw you talk about this yesterday, use the word investment when he's really talking about spending.
Yeah. I mean, Democrats don't spend, they only invest. Democrats don't stimulate because that word is not popular any longer. No, they grow. This is just control of the language, which I'm not prepared to tolerate. The Democrats want to spend a ton of money. Repeat, spend a ton of money. They want, so what is it now, preschool, universal preschool? How much is that going to cost?
Yeah.
$50 billion for infrastructure, 15 manufacturing hubs, an energy security trust fund. Well, all of this is more and more and more spending. There's a long list, by the way. It's just spending. It's not going to work.
Yeah, Stuart Varney, you mentioned energy. And, one of my favorite things on Varney and Company is when you start hitting the energy issue. You have some of the smartest guests about that. And I would love to explore this a little bit because there are signals now coming from the President, partly from the State of the Union and partly these anonymous people from the White House who are saying that they might be willing to allow the Keystone Pipeline, but only if there are, carbon tax credits or other new regulations and new costs to the American people. What do you think of their strategy on Keystone?
Well, I was watching across-the-board media yesterday, and what do I see but a picture of about, I think it was 48 people lined up in front of the White House, chaining themselves to the gates there.
Yeah.
That made worldwide publicity. 48 people. That's it. 48 people, worldwide publicity. Oh, they don't like the pipeline. We've got to listen to an actress, Daryl Hannah, on the pipeline. She's an energy expert, of course. We've got to listen to a Kennedy. Well, he's got the family name. Oh, we must listen to him. He doesn't like the pipeline. Worldwide publicity for 48 people. That is astonishing. That tells you where the media is coming from.
You mentioned environmentalist Bobby Kennedy Jr., and I think it's always appropriate to point out that the only reason he started working for that environmental project that he's on right now is because it was his probation agreement for heroin possession. Thank you very much.
I'm glad you got that in, Larry. It should be in, for heaven's sake. Look, I don't know whether the pipeline's going to go through or not. I suspect that eventually it will, because the President has to see reality. But you're right, if it does go through, it's going to be hedged in with all kinds of restrictions on and taxes. By the way, we've got 2 senators proposing a carbon tax in the Senate today. That's coming.
I saw that.
Boxer and Mr. Sanders from Vermont.
Can you explain really quickly the impact on something like that? I mean, that's basically cap and trade. It's actually the Kyoto protocols. They're unilaterally trying to push Kyoto through this carbon tax, right?
It's a money grab, essentially.
Yeah.
It raises the cost of fossil fuel energy, raises the cost of all energy, actually. We all pay somehow or other through the nose eventually, and the government ends up with a ton of money. That's what it's all about.
I got a couple of business questions for you. We got this major merger, that's hard to say, that's going to be announced later today, American and U.S. Air. Your thoughts?
Widely expected. From the consumer standpoint, probably not good, because following previous mergers in the airline industry, airplane ticket prices went up. From an investor standpoint, it probably makes American Airlines a much more viable investment over the long term. I think it's the first time in years that you can say that maybe the airlines are worth investing in these days.
You're a free marketeer from the Thatcher-Reagan days, though, and really, since deregulation, we've really seen now, we saw the explosion of all the little airlines, and then they reconsolidated. Looking back now, in retrospect, over the last 30 years, has deregulation been a good thing for American consumers?
Yes, I think it has. But deregulation has not resulted in the multiple airlines in business that we thought it might have. The economies of scale are very, very powerful. I think it was, but some famous investor, Warren Buffett, said, we should never, ever have bought any airline stock after the Wright brothers, because no airline has ever, over the long term, made money. And that, that is true.
Yes, my Southwest portfolio will attest to that. Not a good buy for me.
Very, very quickly, about 45 seconds left. I want to talk to you about the market right now. I mean, we're above 14 thou. And as I read about the market, about half the people I read seem to say it can't sustain much longer. And then about the other half that I say, oh, it's definitely it's going full blood. You need to be in big. Do you have a sense of this?
Which half is right?
Yeah.
Look, I got a sense that we're about to turn. We've had a very nice rally that's carried the Dow well above 14,000, close to an all-time high. But the underlying state of the economy and our politics is so grim, I suspect that will push a turn in the very near future. Today, the market will open lower, well below 14,000.
All right, Stuart Varney, always a pleasure, my friend.
Happy Valentine's Day, Stuart.
Thanks, everyone.
All right, talk to you later.
See, he accepted my Happy Valentine's Day. I turned him.